Wilhemina Onyothi is a keen believer in artificial intelligence and recently presented her research on how technology can be used to help monitor and conserve our wildlife.
I just returned from Kenya from the Deep Learning Indaba, Africa's biggest AI gathering, and I was the only Namibian there. So it was a really amazing event because we had bigger partners on board. We had Facebook, we had Apple, who had their first African event, if I can call it that, a Q&A session. We had the director from Facebook AI who was present, gave a really interesting lecture and talk on computer vision and how Facebook algorithms and how the Facebook team is helping address global challenges. And this is interesting because just before the Indaba, I attended the Computer Vision for Global Challenges. So it starts with data, really. It starts with data, or minimal data, or some data, right? And then you have, data comes in different forms. You have text, you have images, you have numbers, you know, the list goes on. But what can you do with it? So traditional methods, in terms of storage, because we're producing more data than before, it's coming in at a greater speed than before. It's the veracity and the variety is even greater than before. So there are needs, there's a need for smarter ways to analyze this data and make decisions from it. Connect the dots and find patterns and make informed decisions from this data. So this is where AI comes in. And it's broken down in different branches that focus on the different kinds of data. So computer vision looks at algorithms that look at images, and then it could couple that with sound if you have data such as, let's say, elephants communicating, right? Then you'd need to couple memory algorithms that remember with those that look at images to make some decision. Could be satellite imagery on the drought at the moment. So how do you look at the then and now? You know, when we had rainfall and post, how do we identify which houses are most affected by the drought and where drought is needed? That way we know, we can make informed decisions on which region to focus on, which houses need help, and also to inform farmers which regions would be then highly or heavily affected by the drought and how to prepare them for the next 3 years or so. My work focused on looking at big data technologies, Earth observations, branches of artificial intelligence, algorithms, and so forth, how we could combine all these multidisciplinaries to protect the rhino. So we look at satellite imagery, we look at drone imagery, we look at camera traps, to monitor the wildlife. And at any point where there's some anomalous activity, we can then identify or come up with a data set, collect a lot of data that we can make, where we can identify the rhino and track it and identify any kind of anomalous behavior, such as a person at a well probably pouring something because poachers have become more intelligent. They're using cyanide poisoning now, cyanide poison to poison water holes, and that's how the animals die. So we can detect these irregular activities and also extract the terrain of, say, the Etosha or the desert where we find the desert-adapted rhino and elephant, to find patrolling routes to help the trackers on ground. And this is really promoting human and AI collaboration to assist and not as a means to replace them. So we know that the SRT, the Save the Rhino Trust, relies on their trackers to track the rhinos on foot for a number of days, and that's a timely process. So where we introduce artificial intelligence is then flying UAVs or drones or some using satellite imagery or Earth observations to extract the terrain and apply game theory on top of it to extract patrolling routes and randomly generate coordinates on time where the tracker then has to go out and track the rhino. We need collaboration between citizens on ground and the different stakeholders involved. So conversations between the internet providers to ensure that we have high internet accessibility in the desert or in the Etosha. so that we can create architectures as software engineers. We also need software engineers, we need AI developers, we need the government to also make favorable laws that will ensure that the data we collect on the wildlife is collected ethically and used ethically, and that internet services are also made available or improved in these regions so that our algorithms can make real-time detections and decisions.